You may remember him, Temple High School, but that was a long time ago. Now, of course, the tight end at TCU, and what a run last year. First of all, we were discussing when you left Temple, 6'5", 210 quarterback, Texas, and now TCU. And how big are you now?
6'7", 260, 265, something like that.
Is that just that good college football food, or is it strength and conditioning, or a combination of all that?
It's a combination of both. I'm definitely eating pretty good right now, though.
So, what a run last year. What are the expectations? A lot of people back, but a lot of people gone. What are the expectations coming back?
I mean, up until that championship game, you know, it's a rinse and repeat for us. You know, last year it is what it is. Didn't end the way we wanted it to. You know, at the same time, it was a great learning experience for us, and you know, obviously the goal is to be right back where we were.
Chandler Morris takes over again as the starting quarterback. You guys went into the year with him as the starting quarterback. So is it fairly seamless for him to reestablish himself in spite of, you know, what Max was able to do last year?
Yeah. I mean, you know, I think that's anybody, you know, me included, everybody on the team has to, you know, kind of take on a new role. You know, this isn't the same team that we had last year, so everybody is going to have to, you know, go out and prove themselves just like they did, you know, the year before.
You mentioned that, I mean, you could tell by your response a second ago, you weren't happy, obviously, with the way the season ended. But, man, like, leading into that, just the close wins, the back and forth, just what was that experience like from your standpoint and just being a part of a run like that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the whole season as a complete idea and a complete, you know, outside looking in now, looking back on it, you know, it was a great season, obviously, for us. You know, we won a lot of close games that were big for us, and I think that just speaks to, you know, how we play the game at TCU, and you know, how the coaches have done a great job of teaching us to, you know, you got to be resilient. You know, you can't think that you're ever out of the game. You know, there's not a game that we're, you know, far enough away to where we can't come back and forth. So I think that just spoke to us as how, like, who we were as a team.
Jared Wiley, tight end from TCU, from Temple High School, also played at Texas. You made the decision back in January to come back. What was behind the decision to come back or to possibly look at the NFL?
You know, a big thing was I finally just, you know, I felt like I had fun playing in college, and you know, who doesn't want to do that again? You know, in my head, what's the rush? You know, I'm having a blast in Fort Worth. You know, I've made some great new friends, great new teammates, and all that. So, I mean, I didn't see the point in just, you know, wanting to rush into the next chapter of my life whenever I'm perfectly happy with where I'm at right now.
How, you know, you played quarterback in high school at Temple. How long before you felt like a tight end in your career and you started thinking like a tight end instead of maybe a quarterback first?
It definitely took some time. You know, that's a big reason on why I early enrolled whenever I first got to UT. But, I mean, it wasn't until, honestly, probably my second or third year where I kind of just got that mindset of, like, you know, I want to be physical now. I want to be, you know, I want to be like an issue in the run game. I want to go up and, you know, make those plays. So, you know, it definitely took me a little bit to kind of adjust, but now, you know, now that I've got that mindset and adapted, you know, into that tight end role, then, you know, I feel like it's been pretty smooth.
So what is it about for you this year? Is it just about sharpening the iron, so to speak, and what you already know, or are there still things that you're learning and trying to adapt to? Kind of what's your sort of map right now heading into next season?
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of both. You know, there's always stuff to improve on. No football player has ever, you know, had a perfect season or a perfect game or anything like that. So, you know, it's still learning some new stuff about, you know, the position or, you know, what it's going to take for me personally to reach the goals that I want to reach this season, and, you know, so forth and so on. So I just feel like there was a little bit of unfinished business for me, you know, me personally. And that kind of played a big role into me saying, okay, you know what, I need to do one more year.
The close games that you won, and then, of course, the amazing finish at Baylor, right there in your backyard. 2 years ago, Baylor won like 6 of those games, and then last year didn't. How do you prevent that flipping?
You know, we have a lot of young guys this year, and that'll play a role into it on how well that us older guys can, you know, teach them the culture and how we do things at TCU. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. You know, we can't have a drop off like you were just mentioning. We have to win those close games. The championship level teams, they win those games in those big moments.
I have to ask you this. The last time that we did one of your games, you were at Temple. We were doing the midway games, and you have Travius Hodges-Tomlinson at left, midway. You had you and Quentin there from Temple. Was there any, trash talk about that, especially last year, since Temple finally did beat Midway?
Oh yeah, I heard it every day from Trey. I don't think that I ever was able to beat Midway. Obviously, they were great whenever we were there. I don't really keep up with it now, but yeah, there was definitely some back and forth.
Yeah, that was a frustrating rivalry for Temple for a while, wasn't it?
It definitely was.
We saw them win, I think it was 2011. It was a non-district game. Durham Smythe, in fact, there's another. No, he was at Belton. That was Belton, not Temple. But it finally, as good as Temple's been, that was always one that was kind of thorn in your side, like TCU is for Baylor, by the way.
Yeah, something similar.
It's like they can't win that game. Jared Wiley, tight end with TCU, here with us on 365 Sports.
What was kind of going through your head with the TCU Baylor finish and just how wacky? I mean, literally one more second and that game's a different outcome. Just take us to your kind of point of view on that whole unfolding of madness there at McLean Stadium.
Yeah, you have a rivalry, and it was in November, right? So yeah, you have a rivalry in November in college football. There's always going to be some sort of twist to it. It's always going to be a game that's probably closer than what it should have been in Waco for that game. It was cold. It was, it was set up perfectly for us to not be able to come out on top on that one. But like I said, it speaks to who we were as a team last year, and our resiliency is just a unit and a group to where we could overcome all these different things that we had no control over. And like I said, just to come out on top.
How much is that Kaz Kazadi and what his guys do and helping y'all mentally? I know that's a huge part, like the physical part, getting fast, loves the speed. But we saw him at Baylor for many years and know that he's a guy that changes people's minds.
Yeah.
How has he done that for you and just the team, and how much did that play into outcomes like that?
Yeah, as a player, you'll give him all the credit in the world for it. Whenever you have a conversation with him, player to coach, he'll tell you that it's up to the players to be able to adapt that mindset. He can preach to us all he wants about, this, and this, and if we're not absorbing all the information that he's giving us, then, he's basically talking to a brick wall. So, yes, 100%, he's been instilling that mindset into us, but at the end of the day, it's up to the players to just be able to live the type of life that he's wanting us to live in order to be a championship program.
He ever caught you eating something you're not supposed to, like a cheeseburger or a biscuit or anything?
Yeah, a couple times I had that. Those are some rough conversations.
I one time was fortunate to sit down with him, and it was a long interview because nobody had ever really talked to him before. He tries to break you, right?
Yes.
And actually probably does. Did you ever feel that way, even though you were more of an older statesman of the team?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think that mentally and obviously physically, I'm a different player than what I was even last season. So he kind of drops these nuggets every now and then whenever he's talking to us, and the old heads or the veterans on the team, we know to pick up on those things, and you just kind of, like I said, just absorb all the information you can, and then you'll look back 6 months later and you'll be like, I'm a completely different person than what I was.
What's it like to play for Sonny Dykes in an offense that he's a part of? Obviously, Garrett Riley was a part of that. Now he's gone. But what is that like to watch him do his thing?
Oh, I mean, it's unreal. Going into every week, we'd have install on Monday and Tuesday and all that. And, I mean, you're just looking at it, and it's like, I don't understand how he came up with this, but, it's going to work. And just him as a coach for us, he's so selfless, and he's such a great coach for us players that, it's so easy to go out there and just lay it all out on the line for him every Saturday.
I have a question. I think it's a fair question because you had a great run, but then last year, obviously, Georgia was at a level that maybe no one's ever been at. Does that in any way, shape, or form take away from last year, and is there hangover from that?
No hangover, and I don't think it takes away from last year. We've kind of just looked at it as more of a positive thing. It was a learning experience for us. There are only two teams in that game for a reason, and we earned our way there. We beat Michigan. We won the big games to be in that situation. We just couldn't get it done. And like I said, we're just using that as like how do we not have the mistakes that we had and the distractions that we had last year going into that game? How can we minimize that for the next season?
Good luck. Good to see you, young man.
Sir.
You're growing up from where you were at Temple, and obviously a heck of a quarterback there. to what you're doing now. Good luck the rest of the way, and thanks for being a part of the show.
Awesome. Appreciate y'all.
Jared Wiley, TCU tight end on 365 Sports.